What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Keegan and Company podcast, where it is all around the company we keep. This podcast is powered by Famous Nutrition. Shop online at famousnutrition.com and use TRY30 for 30% off to feel famously good today. Enjoy the episode. Bailey O'Brien, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Mate, how you feeling? We had a beautiful little swim this morning. How are the boulders feeling?
Boulders have recovered.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're good now. Like I mentioned, swimming's not my strongest suit, but it was good fun.
Mate, I thought you were good out there. You were fucking like a little fish, obviously like well built. But mate, you were in there. You had the fins on. You looked good.
Yeah, fins. Yeah, different ball game, paddles even. But other than that, I'm a certified land animal.
Gotcha. Why? What's the fascination with tri? Because you did Noosa Tri a couple of weeks ago.
Husky.
Husky. Yeah.
Husky. Was that last weekend? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I'm just interested to. I love doing new things. Being a beginner. Learning as much as I can, and then just kind of being in the arena and learning through experience. So that was my first Olympic distance one. Got through the swim unscathed, and then was able to send the bike and the run, which was fun.
Is the swim the hardest discipline for you?
Yeah, for sure. By a country mile. No real background in swimming growing up, and it's very technical. I feel like you can make progress on the bike and the run a little bit quicker, but yeah, the swim is definitely my hardest leg.
It makes such a difference if you've got a background in something, hey? Like, because you've obviously, you've probably done a heap of running growing up, right? Like, even with basketball and dabbling in that AFL. And having that background is so easy. And swimming, it's it can be so foreign to people. So people and obviously heap of crew are getting into the Ironman tri space at the moment.
Yeah.
But if you've done a little bit of swim squad or a little bit of surf lifesaving, that just goes so far, right?
Yeah, even for a couple of years or having a coach for one season or one squad year, I get it. People who did swimming as a kid go, oh, it was so boring, I wanted to stop. I'm like, bro, I wish I had a couple of years just so I could come back to muscle memory and kind of then build the fitness back up. But it's building fitness and you're trying to learn the technique at the same time. But it's good fun.
How do you go navigating something new? Because obviously, like you said, swimming is something new for you.
Yeah.
Where do you start? How do you start that process? Because you want to do an Ironman, which is almost a 5 kilometer swim into a 180k ride in a marathon. How do you start this new thing?
Man, I bought a textbook. Read the textbook
back to time.
Literally like a book on how to swim.
How to swim for dummies.
Right. It was I heard Nick Baird speak about it in his first Ironman series. It wasn't effortless swimming, but it was something about learning swimming as an adult and trying to make it where you're gliding through the water. But I read it a little while ago, so just kind of I want to learn. And I've watched I bought programs off the Effortless Swimming Guide, 8-week faster freestyle, watching videos. The hardest thing about swimming is unless you have someone watching you, you don't really know if, all right, cool, I know I should have a high elbow recovery or I shouldn't cross over, but you can't really see what you're doing. Yeah. So that's probably the hardest thing is the self-correcting. And even in CrossFit, which is my background, you set up a tripod or a camera, record yourself, watch it back, all right, that was no good. It's a little bit harder to do that in the pool. But yeah, I feel if you want to make it happen, you got to try and do whatever you can to learn about it and then get the reps in. There's no other way.
Just get all the information as you can and probably talk to the right people as well.
Exactly.
We've had a couple of the Olympians on, Ariane Titmus, Kaylee McEwen, Mac Horton, all these won gold in their respective disciplines. But mate, even them, they're still thinking about every stroke in training. And so, because I was surely it's just been muscle memory. Yeah. And they're it is muscle memory in the race, but even still in training, they're doing big kilometers, 5-6 kilometer sessions, which is gnarly to think about. But they're thinking about every stroke, perfecting every single stroke. So I'm we're not that far off. We're just gonna keep going.
Yeah. It's fun though to be a beginner and start fresh again because I've had a few different kind of sport ventures or eras, and it is fun. I very much love the start of whatever the new era is, so that's very much the newest.
And you just see so much progression into it, because we were talking this morning, you said everything that you want to do, you want to be the best at. If it's basketball, you want to be the best at basketball. CrossFit, you want to be the best at CrossFit, whatever the thing is. But then it's also cool when you start something fresh, it takes that pressure off and you're well, instead, I'm obviously not going to be the best marathon runner and the best triathlete at the moment. So I've taken that pressure off and now I can actually enjoy the process of actually doing it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Having, less pressure on it and just wanting to do it to learn and gain the experience for sure. I've definitely had the seasons of wanting to be the best. And I feel once I've kind of let go of that, I feel some people don't even try if they're not going to be the best, you know. And I feel like that limitation just closes so many doors, where if you just are okay being a beginner or not being the best, and you want to learn and get the experience, it kind of like, takes this load off, and also just opens endless possibilities. And we like to say like, the only limitations in life are the one you put on yourself. And I feel like it could not be more true that you can do whatever you want if you have the courage to just do the thing.
How did you come to that perspective of like taking away the ceilings? Because I think we always, like a lot of us put ceilings on ourselves of what we think we're capable of, but it sounds like what you're saying now, just like, no, there's no ceilings. Like we can do whatever we want. How did you come to that perspective?
It took a long time to get there. The biggest thing for me is basketball was my background. That was my whole life growing up. And when I stopped playing basketball, the goal was to go to college in the US. That was like, I studied hard at school. I did all my extracurricular. I had the best report cards, because like I wanted to make sure that I wanted an athletic scholarship, but also academic. And I knew it was going to go both ways. My parents would never let me miss the last day of school. Stickler for that thing. Like, do you want the thing or not? Do everything you can to get there. And so that was the goal. And then when I decided not to go to college, and Maddie and I, my wife, both decided not to go to college. That was how we met, and we got through that. It kind of meant, all right, well, that was my whole life plan, and now that's kind of changed. And then that kind of opened my eyes to actually maybe you don't just have this one path written for you. Maybe you are able to experiment and do different things. So then I played AFL for 2 years after never playing anything really other than basketball my whole life, and that was so much fun. And then I opened up the gym and started doing CrossFit, and I was like, all right, kind of moved to that. And it just kind of made me realize actually like you're not pigeonholed into this one thing. The only thing pigeonholing you there is if you don't allow yourself to move. And that kind of, opened my eyes and shattered this glass ceiling. And then from there I gained a bit of confidence and started throwing my hand at a few more things. And I feel like, fortune kind of favors the brave a little bit, and you kind of make your own luck. And now I'm just kind of going after a few different things. And
now it's all working out, right? Why did you guys decide to not do the college thing?
Yeah, well, when I say it was my life's purpose to go to college, like as early as I can remember, all I wanted to do was like play college hoops and then play professionally. But the girl always gets in the way, brother. The girl always the girl.
She's here and she's smiling in the background.
And like, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, obviously, like finding Maddie, and like we're now married and we have a gym and a house together, and like it's the best. But at the time, I bet my dad especially is like, hey bro, don't let this girl ruin your dreams, you know? But like, she also had the same like kind of ambition. She captained state teams growing up. That's how we met at nationals. She had higher offers than me at college. So like, it wasn't like I was just sacrificing. We both kind of were like, oh, do we take this next jump? But we're probably going to be in opposite ends of the country. Or do we stay in Australia and kind of start our life together? And we kind of decided with the latter. And once we kind of did that, there was no looking back. We've really made the most of it. And sometimes you think, I wonder like what life would have been like if we both did go to college, and what happens after that. But I'm a big believer in you can make the best decision you can with what's in front of you, and like you can't really have any regret with it, and I wouldn't have any regret regardless.
Do you believe everything happens for a reason?
Yeah, I do, for sure. And it's hard to see that in the times. I can think like the biggest one is when you're injured, for sure. You're like, why me? Like, what is this for? All I want to do is be healthy. But like, I feel like everything does kind of happen for a reason. And I often think about those sliding door moments where like you could have went one way, you go the other way. And even like recently did a campaign with Lululemon, which was so cool. And I just remember being in this hotel room in Melbourne, just like, how did I get here, man?
What the hell?
And it's just like the culmination of like every little decision across so many years just has kind of led me to this one moment. But it is funny how like life is just a game of decisions, and it just takes like one good or bad decision to send you on a completely different pathway. But
man, those sliding door moments I think about like all the time. So like, imagine if like you didn't meet Maddie at that exact time. Would you be here doing what you're doing now?
Right.
Like, it could be a totally different direction. Not to say that direction's bad, but I mean, it kind of is like that little space where it's like all those little moments, those little decisions, those little micro moments where you probably didn't think was a big thing at the time, I think is super important. And even like the ability to be open to these experiences, kind of just like saying yes to things, which is kind of what I see you doing at the minute. Like you're doing a lot, but it's very purposeful and you're linking up with really cool people. I do want to get into this last 12 months because you've had an incredible 12 months and obviously everything is really happening for you. What did it look like stepping into the gym? Because you mentioned this morning that you were like hustling so hard to like save every penny, every dollar to try and save up to have the funds to start a gym. Why was it starting a gym so important to you at that time, and what did that stage of life look like for you?
Yeah, it wasn't like the goal was to be a professional athlete. That was like the dream. And then when we decided not to go to college, I'm from Wollongong, the South Coast. Me and Maddie been doing long distance because she was in Sydney for like nearly 3 years at the time whilst we were finishing up school, and then 1 year outside of school. And then I decided to move to Sydney. And then when I moved to Sydney, I was in the fitness industry, like working front desk at a gym in Wollongong. I was bartending. I was working a lot, trying to save money, but like I didn't know what it was for. But I just knew that like when I figure out what it's for, I wanted to be as prepared as possible. Okay. Moved to Sydney, eventually got a few gigs in a couple of different gyms. Started to realize that actually this could be a career. Like I really like this. Felt like I had my own was developing my own style that was unique, and I felt like I kind of had the knack for coaching a little bit and was very passionate about it. And then once we decided to maybe I should go out on my own and do my own thing, create my own business. And once we kind of pulled that trigger, then I just knew that I had a good amount of savings backed up, but like if I wanted to have a facility, I needed to actually really grind. So went out my own, worked out of Maddie's garage for that period in her family home, and we did that for just over 12 months.
And so was that just crew coming through? You would have like open sessions?
Yeah, it was just one-on-one PTs. Yeah. Sometimes they come in pairs, just in their little 2-door garage. We did a full little setup there.
That's so sick.
It was awesome. And it's so generous of her family to give me their space to start this business that we've lucky enough to call our life now. And during that window, I was just, knew that I'd been given an opportunity, and I just didn't want to waste that. So I really worked my tail off for a good window there, not sleeping many hours, early mornings, late nights. But I knew that all right, if I'm going to open this gym, I need to kind of be ready for it. And so when the time came, we found the lease, all the stars aligned. We were able to kind of, secure that and then buy all the equipment, open the doors, do a bit of renovation without having to take any loan out, which was something that I was super proud of. So we weren't starting in a negative. I just felt like all of that kind of hard work was had paid off at that moment.
Do you think that there are seasons to go for it?
Yeah.
Because when people talk about having having balance, and we both know sleep and having balance is it's important, especially for performance. But is there seasons where you just have to, maybe not get the sleep that you need and just dial in? What are your thoughts around that?
100%. And there's definitely seasons. For me, my mindset is I'm not going to be able to do this forever. Yeah. But right now I'm 19, 20, 21. I'm young, I'm enthused. Now's my window to go. And I kind of was I want to, whilst my peers are partying, I'm I want to get ahead. I want to kind of go against the grain here. When I say I had no balance, I would have no balance. I'd work Monday to Friday like a dog.
What did a day look like?
I'd be up at 4:30, start at 5. I'd work from 5 to 10 or 11. I'd do 3-4 hours PT. Then I'd go to a corporate gig, which was half an hour away, PT for 2 hours, their staff. Then come back. I'd eat breakfast. I'd train for 2 hours, and I'd PT again from 4 till about 8 p.m. at night. And at this time, I'd just stopped playing basketball and AFL and started doing CrossFit. So I trained during the middle of the day, but that was in my little garage gym, so didn't have much equipment, just barbells and a rig. And then I'd finish coaching 8 p.m. at night, and then I'd go to a CrossFit gym that had a fob tag, and I'd train from 9 till 11-ish at night. Come home, eat dinner, and then be asleep by midnight. Wake up at 4:30 and did that rinse and repeat for 12 months straight, basically. And that was I knew that it wasn't healthy, it was not sustainable, but I'd had goals to open a gym, and I had goals to be a professional CrossFit athlete. And I was I want it more than I want to recover, you know. I can be tired, I can be whatever, but I just went flat out. And then we finally got the gym, thinking, maybe I can relax a little bit now. But then it's all right, now we've got pay rent.
Yeah.
So now I've got to make ends meet. So I'm still working every morning, every night there. But it was like, it's what I wanted to do. I wasn't doing it for anyone else. I was doing it for me. Felt like I was setting up my kind of future, our future. Then Maddie was able to come into the business full time eventually as well. And it was very much like, yeah, this is what I want to be doing. Not for the money, not for anything else, but just like, yeah, I was just passionate about it.
Have you heard Angela Duckworth's research or book on grit? It's like passion and perseverance. It's like this idea of grit is around doing something that you're passionate about over a long period of time. So you look at the best people in their field, like Michael Jordan, or even guys in the research space like Dylan Walker. He's been studying sleep for the last 25 years, right? Before sleep was like cool to have like a good night's sleep. Yeah. But he's like, what she talked about is like, you'll be able to be the best and have that, like, I guess, long standing because you are so passionate about something and you're able to deal with the challenges and struggles that go along the way. So you're able to, go through like 4 or 5 hours of sleep because you've got this big goal of wanting to open a gym debt-free and start and creating this kind of life for yourself.
Yeah.
And I see that and I was like, well, that's so awesome because if you zoom out and think, all right, well, my goals isn't the next like month or year. It's actually like 5 to 10 years away. Yeah. You can kind of get through those like little rocky roads. Going through that process of starting the gym, I'm sure there was a heap of challenges. What were your biggest learnings coming out of that?
I feel like the biggest one was like going against the grain and doing something new when like at that age, a lot of people aren't doing that. It was kind of like, not like the black sheep, but it was like, it was a little bit, oh, what are you doing? Like you think you're better than us, you think whatever, like potentially losing friendships. And it was a tough period, but like I could see it. I know, and no one else really needs to see it, but like I knew that's kind of like what I wanted to do. And so we went for it, and for that season, it was hard, and it's really funny, like now that like, not that we've pulled back, we just very much spend our time working on different things. Equally as hard, but because I sleep a couple more hours a night, often people who weren't there in the beginning don't see a lot of that. Yeah. And there's no amount of stories I can tell that are going to give them that appreciation, but now that I have a few different things under, I guess, my job title, whether it be like personal branding, YouTubing, running the gym program, like, oh, that's such a dream life. He's in Burley right now on a Monday. Like it must be so good. But like that season where I was like, no balance, all in, like that has given me the platform, the foundation to now have a bit more flexibility to branch off and do some things. And I feel like a lot of the conversations I have with people, they want where I'm at right now. And that flexibility and that freedom, but they might not necessarily be willing to do the things that it took to get there. So I think there's definitely the balance, there's a season for balance, and now I'm probably still regaining that sleep deprivation. But in order to get to this point, I had to do things that other people weren't willing to do. And yeah, I'm very proud of that. And I sometimes wish people actually knew what that looked like.
I wonder if it's a social media thing around people just like wanting things straight away. Like that, like part-time athlete, like wanting to go train full-time or full-time like socials or have the brand deal or have the money or have the thing like straight away. It's like we want things so quickly, but like good things, like things that are worthwhile take fucking time.
And anything you can get straight away, it isn't like, you don't get the feeling of satisfaction, fulfillment that you're after anyway. So I completely agree. That delayed gratification, I like going for the big ambitious things because like when you get there, it's going to be worth it. And if it happens too quickly, it's not ambitious enough in my opinion.
100%. I always think back, like even starting this podcast, like we started maybe 2 years ago, but I have the expectation of like, we'll be doing this forever, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh, we're probably like not even gonna have a brand deal for the next like 7 years, you know? And so it takes all the expectation and all the pressure off. But then it's also like, if you want to get there, if you want to be the best, like that just takes time. It's like Dom DiTomaso, the parkour athlete, the Red Bull athlete that I was telling you about this morning. He wanted to be a Red Bull athlete like so badly. And he went to every event, he drank Red Bull, he put Red Bull on his socials. He's got like 3.5 million followers on socials now. It's the like most viewed reel on Instagram at one point, with like 800 million views. But his whole thing was like, he was just so invested in being a Red Bull athlete, and he genuinely thought it was going to be 10, 15 years away. So he was just grinding away. And then after 5 years, he got the call up and now he gets to like do the most incredible stunts and incredible things around the world. But he's like, that was early. He's like, I wasn't expecting that to happen to me. I thought that was going to be so far away. And so it's cool. I think like being able to zoom out, like having those big goals, but then zooming out and just being like, we're going to get there. Have the expectation, like we do want to get there, but just riding through that whole time.
Yeah, I often think, I don't know, it kind of grounds me and settles me that like what I do today is like, how is Bailey in 5 years going to benefit from this, you know? And it just makes like every day seem a little bit like, yes, you can have periods of down, but like, yeah, what is that long-term effect of this decision right now going to be? And I've kind of always lived my life like that, playing like, what's the next play? What's the next play? Not just getting, wound up in the rat race.
Where does that come from? Because that's like a pretty, it's a pretty cool mindset to have at like such a young age. Like you said, you were doing that when you're like 19, 20, 21. Like where did that come from?
I don't know. Like it came from my parents actually. I know exactly where it came from. And they like being a basketball, like I'm small, I'm not very athletic. You saw me in the pool today.
You're athletic, brother. I still see it, man.
But like I never had much natural talent. Same at school, like I didn't have the best grades. Like my wife got like a 97 ATAR or something. So like people like have way more natural talent than me, like left, right and center, but I would do things like wouldn't miss any days of school. I would do the extracurricular, I would like be school captain, I would do SRC from like a young age. Like I would do all these little things to try and bring myself up to the same level or give myself a slight advantage. And I feel like my parents just instilled that, hey, if you want the same opportunities that people who are more talented than you have, like you're gonna have to do other things. And like that's the thing why I like CrossFit so much as well, because you have to be fit, but you have to be smart and out strategize other people as well. And I think coming from a background or a biological capability where you only have X amount, how can you maximize every ounce of your own potential to give yourself a chance to do whatever it is that you want to do? So I feel like that from a young age started with basketball. How can I make this state team? How can I have a gym? How can I grow my social media? Whatever it is, how can I learn to swim? It's like, how can you just get your own advantage and maximize your own potential?
Tell me about your growth over the last 12 months, because like I came across your profile. I think my partner saw Maddie's.
It always starts with Maddie.
It always starts with Maddie, man. Like, Em saw like one of Maddie's reels on. I think she ran like a half marathon or something, and then you were like comforting her, and she loved it, and that's how I saw it. And then obviously big fan of the moustache as well, which thought was beautiful. Have you ever done Movember?
No.
You ever done Movember?
Yeah, I haven't done it before.
Anyway, I saw that, and then over the last like 6 months, growth just has gone exponential from the outside looking in. It's cool to hear you talk about like just dialing in and doing it. What was the turning point? Like, did you feel like there was a turning point in the last 12 to 18 months? You're like, okay, it's time to dial it up a little bit? Yeah,
for sure. So I've been posting on Instagram forever, since 2013. I did a panel with Lululemon recently, and I kind of had to do a bit of research and when did I start posting and how long have I been posting, and I've been pretty consistent since 2013. So I've been doing it for a long time, and a lot of it was about when you're young, you're just kind of like trying to find your own way, and then it became very quickly about like my gym and like trying to promote what I'm doing in building this business, and also like me being an athlete, kind of being the example, the avatar that if people wanted to take inspiration from it, then maybe they would want to come and train with us. So that's kind of like where posting and telling my story kind of started. And then I very much was like heavily in the CrossFit space for the last 4 or 5 years. And after 2 years of the Torian Pro, which is like the top 30 in Oceania, I was like year 3, ready to lock in, go again. And then, but in order to be at that level, it's like takes a lot of sacrifice, just like any athlete would. But I was training 4 to 6 hours a day, like pretty heavy days, very selfish, which is like inherently what you have to do if you want to be the best. But it meant that like Maddie was bearing the burden, especially running the business and picking up the slack of what I was leaving. And so we kind of had a pretty hard, tough conversation at a tiny home one weekend, and she just said, hey, like what's the next 5 years look like? I feel like we've got these 5 years, or our 5-year plan is ticked off. we opened the gym, we bought an apartment, we just got engaged, but we're getting married this year. And like, I don't know if the stress around competing this level is worth the bang for buck. And I was like, I've just spent the last 4 years to get to this point. Like I can't waste it now. And after like talking about it, we've just like realized that it would never be a waste. Those 4 years of grinding and leading, like, have built our business into what it is and given us this foundation to move forward from. And once that kind of perspective shifted, and then we realized, hey, we are getting married this year. Like I want to be in this year and enjoy it, not just like have the wedding as something that I've got to do, you know? So like, we spoke about that. I've been putting off a shoulder surgery that I had needed for a couple of years. So eventually decided to not compete in CrossFit this year for the first time in a long time. Got the shoulder surgery at the start of the year, and then we had our wedding in August. And then I actually have a post on my Instagram, a very clear black and white moment where I just had coffee with my friend Maddie, and we were having a chat just like we were this morning, speaking about social media and our story and direction. And I just said, like, stuff it, man. Like, I'm going to start posting more and like speaking to my camera and not caring what other people think. Like, and I literally said, this is funny, you'll love this. I didn't have a mustache, I had a buzz cut, and I literally said, this is day one of 75 mo.
Yeah, I love that.
Maddie had just done 75 hard, and I was like taking the piss, but from that day, it was so black and white. I'm gonna now grow my mo, and I'm gonna start posting more on social media with the intention of growing and not have this fear of like, oh, what if they judge me? And that was in, I think, June or July last year, and I had 4,000 followers, and like, I was basically
you had
professional.
4,000 followers last year?
Yeah.
What the hell?
And I was like basically professional athlete, making like no money, thinking like, but when I made the Torian Pro and I was at this level, that's when the endorsements would come. That's when I could like quit my day job, like, and none of that came. And I was like, oh, well, that's not what I thought it was going to be, you know? So I'm going to start posting just for the love of it, for the passion of it, and had like 6 months of doing the thing with no real return. But I also have this quote written on the front of my diary that says, this is where most people stop. This is why you're not most people. And I feel like I kind of was starting to lose a bit of doubt, but I'm like, just stick with it. And then I kind of had one thing that kind of got some traction, then I had another thing that got a bit of traction, and then I had one day in the life reel that gained me 20,000 followers.
Wow.
And I was just like, holy moly, like, and that kind of was this start of this social kind of journey. And I feel like there was never any pressure on it. We spoke about the triathlon. I wanted to be the best at basketball. I wanted to be the best at CrossFit. But because I have the gym and that is my bread and butter, that is my purpose, that there was no pressure on the social media. I could still be calculated and be smart and actively try and do the best I can, but it wasn't to just go viral for the sake of it and be like, some people can be potentially like not cringe, but do the most outrageous thing for attention. I didn't want to grow that way. I just wanted to grow in a way that told my story and was unique to me. And I feel like I kind of, through trial and error, just found my own little style. And since then, it's kind of skyrocketed into whatever amount of followers I'm at now. I ticked over 100K the other day, which is pretty cool. It's just a number, but like, it is pretty cool to reflect on this time last year, June last year I was at 4,000.
Man, there's so many little things that I'd love to flesh out a little bit more. You said not caring about what other people think when just starting to post. Was there any times where you thought you had that internal dialogue of being like, fuck, are the boys going to take the piss out of me here? Like, was there any like conversations around that or thoughts around that?
100%. And there always has been. It's always like ebbs and flows. I like to like stay pretty even keel in the middle the whole time. But like, even when opening the gym, lots of head noise about like, oh, I'm going against the grain here. Like, people, they want to party. Like, they don't care about like getting up early on Saturday morning working out. But like, had noise there. And then like, same at this time, like I was posting the gym thing, but like, I was about to go from being the CrossFit guy to not the CrossFit guy. So I was going to start posting slightly different type of content, a bit more lifestyle content, a bit more, not educational, but just I wanted to experiment with different things. And doing something new, people don't usually like change. And I just was like, oh, I won't do it. I'm the CrossFit guy. That's the limitation we spoke about before. That's my who I am. But then I kind of just like removed that and said, oh, stuff it, I'm going to go for it. And I went through a period where I got the lowest amount of engagement I've ever gotten. Like I would get X amount of likes, and then this slight change would halve that. And people were like, oh, I don't follow you for this. But it was kind of this growing pain, I guess, if I'm going to just try it and figure out something new. And then once I kind of got through that 6-month period of a bit of turmoil and growing, then I feel like I started to find my rhythm, but it definitely wasn't easy. And definitely did have that inner dialogue of like, what do other people think? What if they unfollow me? But you can't have it both ways.
How did you find your style? Because you've mentioned style, and I know like people have like different things, and I know certain social media accounts, like people follow them for that specific reason. How did you find your style? Because I'm thinking for other people who are listening that might they're trying to find their style, or they're trying to figure out what works. Any thoughts? Any advice or tips?
Yeah, so the first thing I do is hit up Be All In Media, because my wife, very good at our personal branding over there. She basically is the secret to all of the growth.
You are the perfect case study, by the way.
Yeah, and we've been able to now build a media agency around what we've done as trial and error on ourselves, and the things we've learned. All right, how can we now help others? But the biggest thing for us is, or for me and the gym, was at almost this exact time we completely changed our business model as a gym and went from a personal training surface to a group class facility. And we went from Bayfit, which is Bailey O'Brien personal training, to Be All In Fitness. And how we got there was we mind map, or who are we? Who are we trying to speak to? Who are we not trying to speak to? What are our values? And we kind of mind map this thing over a couple of week period. And one of like all of the things we wrote down were, if you're going to do something, do it well. Like, don't do things in halves, like all these things. And like if you're going to do it, just go all in. And then Maddie said, like, what if we do Be All In, which is BAI of Bayfit? It's like the first 3 letters of your name. We can rebrand our messaging, our themes, but like not have to change our business name. And it became this perfect, like, oh my goodness, that is exactly what we should do.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we rebranded our name. We then re-established who we were, what are our 4 key values, and then who we're speaking to. And that clarity gave me the confidence to speak with like conviction, you know, like not tell people what to do. I never want to tell people what to do through social media. Excuse me, but it just allowed me to tell my story with such confidence. And I feel like that just allowed me to form a deeper connection with anyone who wanted to buy in and kind of, learn more about the Be All In brand.
It's kind of like you set your values, like you kind of, because I know a lot of brands, like I've got my personal values, I've got like our company's values. It kind of seems like the way you want to portray yourself on socials and what you want to portray to the other public, it just all ties back to your values of being all in, about like not halving anything if you're going to do something, do it properly. Was that conscious? Do you guys, like, what I'm trying to think, do you guys sit down and have like, guys, this is going to be our values for the company, or is it just naturally progression?
No, like during that period, it was sit down and like, all right, moving forward, like this is our tagline, Be All In, and then what are our 4 key pillars? And we narrowed it down to environment is everything. We want to like create a physical gym environment that is like more important than anything else, that fosters success. And whether that being, it's going to make you better as an athlete, but also if I'm posting on social media, like we have 10 tripods in the gym. So if people want to come and post and like record their workouts, we're creating an environment that caters for that.
Gotcha.
Not like the tall poppy syndrome of like, oh, you think you're so cool recording yourself. Like, no, we're actually going to make an environment that's like a safe space for that. We have like compete without comparison. So we want to use the competitive nature to force you to get outside of your comfort zone and push to a new level, but without the comparison to the person next to you. Like use them as a push, but like when all said and done, like we don't have any toxic competitiveness. We want a rising tide lifts all boats. So like if you're a better swimmer than me swimming with you is only going to make me better, you know? So I want you to do well, and I'm going to celebrate your wins and hope that you celebrate mine. If we can have that as a core value, then like it becomes a standard. And then the last one is the way you do. If the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you cut corners in the gym, you'll cut them in life. And we will try and like, very much set a standard and then hold the standard that, we don't do things in halves. And that means like if you walk past a bin that's full, you take it out. Because if you like are lazy in that decision, you'll be lazy on whether you do the 9th and 10th rep out of a set of 10, like all those little things. So we kind of established that, and then it just became very clear to speak that into the universe.
It's like sweep the sheds as well. I listened to a podcast recently with Mick Fanning when they started Bolter Beer. So there's a bunch of surfers that started Bolter. For those who, obviously most people know Bolter, but it started just like with a few of their mates. They love drinking beers, so that's what they did. And then they ended up hiring a few key personnel, and then it got to the point where it was like a really successful company. And then there was one time where I think they were closing up the brewery, and then the floors needed to be mopped. So Mick, couple-time world champion, like on like incredible profile, he just started like mopping the floors, and then everyone's like, oh well, fuck, he's living the brand, and ended up selling for a couple $100 million, which was incredible. But I love those like core values that are like instilled within it. And you were even saying this morning, like you guys are still working out in the gym, like you'll do morning, Matt says Arvo, and vice versa, and so you guys are in there actually walking the walk. It's not just like, you're not just talking about it, you're actually doing it. In terms of like this incredible growth, what have you seen to be working for you? I know you've been dialing it a heap with YouTube. How does that look logistically? Like obviously Mads is helping. What does it look like?
So we put out one video a week at the moment. There's been periods of where we've done 2, but one video every week. It's either on a Sunday and Monday for YouTube. So we'll find time to shoot that throughout the week. Maddie, my wife, does like all of our shooting, all of our editing. She's amazing. And she's basically my manager. So she is very helpful with the direction of like what we're shooting. It's not just like all right, let's just shoot today.
Let's sit down at the start of the week and like plan out what the video is going to be.
For sure. At the start of like a series, like if I'm running a sub 3 hour marathon series, or like the triathlon series we just did, at the start of the 8-week build, we had a video, like a theme for every week lined up.
Cool.
And which is like, that way we've got direction, and things kind of chop and change depending on like what we're doing, or some things come up like, hey, let's actually change the video to this week. But planning those things ahead is super helpful, and then finding the time to actually shoot them, make sure they're good quality shots, a mix of like a few different cameras, and then editing them in a way that like engages with our audience and really highlights our personalities, which is something you don't get to see on short form social media.
Do you kind of set up the video so it is kind of like a story? Because you were mentioning like you've got your series, so whether it's sub 3 hour marathon, Hyrox, whatever the thing is, but those individual episodes, do they still kind of follow like a story arc?
Not as deeply, but there's still be an underlining theme through each video that you can almost, when you get to the end of the series, you can kind of see, this is all the different things they've done to get here. If I was to do a triathlon as well, I could follow those same steps. And I've mentioned on the channel plenty of times, if you're an elite triathlete, you're probably not watching my channel. But for those like myself, who's a beginner, never done triathlon before, this is what I'm going to do to try and prepare myself as best as possible without trying to break any records, and just document my journey. I feel like, for me, my biggest inspiration in the YouTube world is Nick Bear, and the reason I was most attracted to him is because he was trying different things and documenting his story along the way. I kind of wanted to do my own thing and have my own flair on YouTube.
I wonder how many guys are like trying to convince their partners to take on their full-time photo video editing.
And that's it, like people, what's your secret? How did you grow? Like you marry a full-time manager who's going to take all of your content, and like that, like without a single shadow of a doubt, like we do not have the gym without Maddie. I do not have a YouTube channel. I do not have a podcast. I do not have like any of the growth I've got on social media without like Maddie shooting it, editing it, helping push out strategy and do those things. So that's my secret weapon. Yes, I can like be the athlete and actually the guinea pig and do the thing, but it's very hard to be the athlete and try and get good at something and document it and be a content creator at the same time. It's super hard, and that's what, like, I go to events with like Apple and things. I'm there with Olympians who we're talking about like, hey, like I'm the best in my country at this one thing, but I'm making no money because like they're just doing the athlete thing. And so that's part of the reason we created the media agency, is like, how can we help people like you tell your story? Because that's what brands and sponsorship deals are. need their message relayed, but it's very hard to do both.
But it's super inspiring because there are so many people in the space at the moment that want to be there and they probably don't know how to start. So like seeing someone like yourself and Mads who you're doing it, bit of background behind the scenes work, like that works. Like even after the swim and coffee and brekkie this morning, we were driving back and my partner, she's just like, man, it was just like so inspiring. Like I kind of want to start a YouTube now for like all of her metropathy stuff. And she's like new to like running and training and stuff like that. She's like, oh, I think that could be like really cool. And it's like, so it's really inspiring, man. I think it's really cool. How do you guys navigate, I guess like doing life together because you know, you've got your personal life, but then you guys also work together. You ever get sick of each other? Is that a...
We literally don't. Like Maddie likes to talk a lot too. So there's periods where I might just like not get a word in for a few hours. We had an 8-hour drive down here. I reckon I said maybe 15 words in total. But nah, like we've been together 11 years. We got married this year. Like we've basically morphed into the same person. And like there's so many parts of her that I've kind of morphed into, probably more me morphing into her. But I think there's a few parts of her that like she's kind of morphed into me, and we've kind of become one, and we very much think the same things and like have the same goals now. It hasn't always been that way, like especially with the gym. Like she came into the gym and was working for the gym full time or like with me, and we were owners of the gym, but like that wasn't her goal ever, you know. Like she did marketing and finance degree. Yes, it's cool to say you have a business, but like that didn't light her up. So we had serious periods of like, hey, what is her purpose? What is her passion? And like this time 12 months ago, like if you look at her social media, she does these before and afters of like, I was not happy at all. I was in like a bad spot because yes, on paper I've had a lot of things, but like my purpose and it wasn't like necessarily where she wanted it to be. And at that moment, that's when we started our podcast. Gave her, that was like her podcast, you know, like I would help and be on the podcast as a guest or a speaker, but that was hers. And then the YouTube is like, although it's like about me, like she has a creative direction and she's put a lot of effort into that to help grow our exposure as a gym, as a brand. And then that has now piggybacked into that being so successful that, hey, let's start an agency. And now for her, it's like combining her love of fitness with her love of media. And it's like, now she's found her purpose as well. I haven't had to alter mine. But like it took us 11 years to find that, you know, like it did not happen overnight, and there was like tough periods of like self-discovery in there. But now that we are on this same page, it feels like foot is on the gas, you know, and like we're probably 2 or 3 years away from like trying to have kids, and we're like, all right, whilst we don't have any little tuckers running around, let's go, all in. No breaks.
It's pretty cool. You guys have been together since you're like what, 18 years
17,
old?
Yeah.
17. What's the secret sauce? What works?
I don't know, man. It's really funny. Like we obviously got married this year, and like saying our vows, like I feel like we are very similar, but we're not yin and yang, but like we have different strengths, but we work together to make sure that I utilize my strengths in the best way possible and she utilizes hers. And if I try and do admin, then like we're not going to get very far.
Like, someone's not getting paid.
But like, I feel like we've found a way to support each other. And there's definitely seasons where it's like, hey, like the CrossFit season was my season, you know, like she was sacrificing for me. And then not that I've like had to sacrifice nearly as much as her, but like this last 12 months, it's been about like more, how can we, the priority is like, let's find your purpose and let's start this business or this arm of the business. And like, just having seasons of putting each other first and making sure that we're a team at all times. But it is just like hard, like anyone who's getting into a relationship thinking it's just like perfect straight away, it's the same way. They just want to like, oh, I want to be full-time social media. Like it doesn't just happen. Like anything, the gym, it all takes so much work to get there. But if you're willing to put in that work, then like you can have some of those opportunities.
You mentioned earlier in the conversation around you guys had a hard conversation when you were really in the thick of the CrossFit, and it was like, is this what we want to be doing for the next 5 years? Was having tough conversations between you two a standard? Was that normal, or did you have to find that out later down the track?
No, I feel like definitely wasn't from the start for sure. I've always like been pretty good at having tough conversations myself, but I wasn't the one having the conversation, you know.
Because it can be difficult, right?
Dude, for sure. And being business owners, like often when you need to give feedback to staff or members, or like if we're going to set such a high standard, like, and we need to hold that standard, we need to hold it. Otherwise, like without the standards, we don't really have anything. And so I've spent a lot of our entrepreneurial business owner relationship trying to encourage her to have harder conversations and, hey, be confident, say what you mean, like clear communication is like the key. And the first time she wants to have a hard conversation is with me, brother.
Yeah. We love that.
But no, it was, and we've gotten better and better at doing that for sure. But yeah, it definitely wasn't always the case, and especially from her case, like I'm sure a lot of girls like listening can relate, like very much a people pleaser, like doesn't want to upset anyone. But it's very hard to have like standards and morals that you want to live by and say yes to everyone or stand for everything. Like if you stand for everything, you stand for nothing kind of thing. And since establishing, which was only really 12 months ago, like who are we after 9 years of being together? Like who are we now? What are our values and where do we want to go? Yeah. All right, this is who we are. This is where we want to go. If it's like aligned with us, yes. If it's not, no. And seeing that is where the exponential growth has kind of happened.
So what I'm hearing is kind of like having a really good understanding of yourself and then you guys together and what you want to accomplish. But then also I imagine it's probably like an exposure thing as well. Like, because I think if there's a girl or a guy and they're saying, like, look, I want to be able to have tough conversations, like that's obviously like a better way to go about life. You're probably going to be a lot clearer with your direction. People are going to know like how you feel on certain things. But do you reckon it's an exposure thing as well, like getting used to that? For sure.
And like, yeah, we did 3 years long distance, like where we would travel on the train when we didn't have licenses, we were still studying at school. Yeah. We then did like 5 years living with her family, with her 2 brothers, her mum and dad as well. Like then like we started gym, like we've been through so many different phases and eras together, and like you just have to go through those things to learn. If we have, I said we've kind of molded together to become one, like those things just kind of take time. And it's the same way, like I'm a big believer in like, yeah, the same way with the gym, the same way with the CrossFit, like in order to get better at something, you just need to like get the volume in. Yeah, man. Same with swimming. Like if I want to get better, there's no secret. Like you just got to get the reps in or buy a faster bike. Yeah. Like, they're the only 2 options. But like, yeah, I feel like having 10 years worth of experience together is like allowed us to get to this period.
Yeah, I remember when I was playing footy, we would go in like on a Monday morning, we might have played like Friday or Saturday, and we got video session, and you'd walk into the room and you'd see your name like up on the screen of the clips that they're going to carry, and you just know you're going to get a sprayed. And we would get sprayed and we would get belittled in front of your whole peers, people you would look up to like when you're a younger kid. And I think doing that, because then you would have to justify like why you made that certain decision. You get pulled into the coach's room. So having tough conversations was just normal. So like then I think transferring that into like a relationship or like having employees or contractors or people who are in your space, it's like they're hard conversations, but they're not difficult because I think we've done it so many times. But I look at other people in my life that they find it really difficult. And I wonder if it's just like an exposure thing. I wonder if you just got to get used to it. And to be honest, all the times that you're doing this, it comes from a really good place. Like you and Mads talking about like where you want to be, that's obviously like a really inspiring thing. That's where you want to get to. And having that conversation actually helps you get there. Because imagine if you don't have the conversation, you know, like you don't know what's being said, you don't know where each other's at. And that's just not in a romantic relationship. That could be in like in a business relationship, it could be in anything, right?
It's just like if you want to get better at, like I struggled a lot with competing in CrossFit, like nerves. Like I would get so nervous. It's just me. I'm on this floor, this tennis arena. Everyone's looking down at you, and like you don't have any teammates. Like it's if you either win on your own or you lose on your own. You know, like. And so that's a super high intensity environment where like I'd feel so much pressure, but the only way to get better at dealing with that pressure is to do more comps. Sure. You know, like you can do as much training as you want, but nothing can prepare you for that environment without doing the thing. And that's why we have like a huge, like one of our biggest things that we want to be a goal-oriented gym where we encourage people to sign up for the race, do the thing, be the one in the arena. And it doesn't have to be like crazy, but just like be working towards something and then gain that experience, because like it's always going to be easy the next time.
Yeah, I know we've talked about a lot about Maddie on this podcast.
Yeah.
She's sitting there just smiling in the background.
You want to bring a chair over?
Yeah. Well, it's actually so funny because typically on this podcast, like we get a voice memo question from someone, and we've got one from Maddie, but it's really awkward because she's actually in the room. I was like, Matt, you just want to grab a mic? No, I will play it now because we'll loop it into the podcast.
Hey Bailey, it's Mads. Keegan asked me to submit a question, so I'm sending one through. I've obviously known you for over a decade. You're my lovely husband. But I guess for those who are listening who might not know you, or for some of your audience who are new to all things Bailey O'Brien, what is something that they might not know about you?
Oh,
it's a beautiful question.
It is a good question. What do you think my answer should be? I feel like we've kind of touched on it as well. I wish my audience knew more about the journey, I guess. That's why doing things like podcasts is so good. So you get the chance to reflect on it and speak to it. It is really hard. Like, you get to a certain point that either people can the more eyes on you, the more praise you can get, opportunities you can get, but also potentially the more hate you can get, criticism, people want to have an opinion. And even close people who have been in my life and are good friends, but have only been there for 2 years, they can only see where we're at now and based of their experience. It is, it hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows and not that it's not a sob story by any means, but it just wasn't to get to where I am now. I just wish people knew how difficult things were to get here. And the same with you playing footy, it would have been nice to play NRL. It's bro, do you know how hard it is to get a contract and play NRL? And there's no amount of words or stories you can tell that will ever truly, give people that appreciation. But I just feel I'm much more than a TikToker, you know? And I don't actually really even use TikTok that much. I'm more an Instagram guy, but it is funny that we live in such a short attention span environment where people who are following me, who might even ask for photos at events, will then ask me, so what do you do for work? Or are you full-time social media? I'm like, are you following me or not, bro? I run a gym. That's my purpose. That's my, I want to maximize my own potential and I want to help as many people as possible maximize theirs and create an environment that gives them the opportunity to either re-establish themselves, redefine themselves, or just find a safe space. And that's why things like YouTube and podcasts are so important for us, because yes, we're not necessarily going to monetize from it, but it gives people to actually get the chance to understand us. And I feel that's when people build a deep connection. And so, I feel I know if I find someone I like on Instagram, when I first came across Nick Bear and realized that, hey, I'm really drawn to you. I like your leadership style, what you stand for, your values. I've taken a lot of inspiration from him as an entrepreneur and as a leader. When I find someone like that, I go back and I search the archives, you know? I want to watch his earliest YouTube. I want to watch how did you get here? And I feel a lot of people might not do that, but I just wish people could kind of see the whole journey of what it took to kind of get here, and not just the finished product. I heard Hormozy say everyone wants the view or something, but no one wants the climb. And I just wish people kind of could see a bit of that climb.
Well, it's funny, how good life can get when you just work hard and you're a good person. I think if it boils down to that, and I think doing podcasting and YouTube, which is longer form content, people can really see who you are. If you have, hundreds of hours of content up on YouTube and podcasting, and people who are genuinely have followed you along the journey, they'll probably know you better than most, right? Because you go through all the little intricacies, all the little things, especially if you're open about talking about this stuff and life online and showcasing it. People get really invested. Imagine how many people know all the little details of a Joe Rogan or a Chris Williamson. I remember Chris, he said something that it was he did 3 podcasts a week for 5 years before he saw any sort of monetary or cash success. And I looked at that and I was like, that is so impressive. So I was like, well, why do we have the expectation of just to have it now? And then all the good stuff will come. I'm keen to talk about you becoming a BPN athlete. Congrats, man. That is so cool. How did that come about? Because I know you mentioned this morning, it was a big goal, right? How did that come around?
Yeah, so that was like I'm big on like energy and manifestation, and like if you like once I kind of realized that those limitations are the only thing stopping you, like if you want something, go out and shoot for it. And so once I kind of was like, hey, like I really would love that, then I just like, all right, let's make a plan. How am I going to get there? And again, this is where Maddie's like super helpful. Like, all right, let's make a plan. Let's do the things that they clearly value a lot, and one of them being YouTube. They're huge on YouTube and have a big audience. Like, all right, let's start our own YouTube and let's...
So you guys sat down, you're like, okay, well, BPN's the goal, and you like re-engineered it to get there.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the sole purpose of starting a YouTube channel was to eventually be signed by BPN one day.
Wow.
And that was like a 5-year plan, you know, like, all right, let's just start this thing. The best time to start was 5 years ago. The next best time is right now. Like, let's not wait, let's start. And then, so that was a brand that I was so heavily drawn to, probably more than any other brand, like in terms of clothing, supplements, like whatever, like in terms of who I want to be associated with, that was the one I was most drawn to. And so like, I want to go for that, you know? And so yeah, started using their products, trying to add value with not being a salesperson. I don't want to look a bit wanky, like promoting them without like having any affiliation, but just a user of their product, you know? And then we were going to Hyrox Worlds in Chicago last year, and we decided to go to Austin, which is where BPN's located in Texas, a week early and get a bit of a training camp in the lead up. And on the first day, we were waiting for our bags. Our room wasn't ready yet, bags downstairs, went up to the rooftop just to hang until it was ready, and we see Lucy Davis on the roof.
BPN athlete.
BPN athlete. And Maddie's like, oh my God, like that's Lucy Davis. She's like on our rooftop in the Airbnb. Like, what are the chances? I'm like, well, I'm going to go introduce myself. And she's like, no. Don't bother her. Like, she's on the roof, she's got her headphones in. I'm like, we're both going to Hyrox Worlds. Like, I want to be a BPN athlete. I'm just going to say hello. Like, I'm not going to ask for a favor. And I went up, just like, waved, kind of took the headphone out. I was like, hey, Lucy, my name's Bailey. Like, I'm here for Hyrox Worlds. My partner, Maddie. Just want to say good day. Like, I'm a big fan. And she's like, oh my God, like, thanks so much for saying hey. Had a bit of a chat. And I was like, oh, we're staying here for the next week. If you're getting any Hyrox sessions in, let me know. I'd love to jump in. And that was it. And said goodbye. She messaged me a couple of days. Actually, no. She messaged me that night saying, thanks so much for saying good day today. I'll let you know how the rest of my week goes. And I was like, amazing. Then 2 days later, we went for a run. Again, this isn't like all of Austin. Austin isn't huge, but like we drove 15 minutes outside of Austin to find like a running route. And we see Ian Fons, another BPN athlete.
Gotcha. Just
like, what are the chances we're at the same place at the same time, like 15 minutes out? And I'm like, I'm going to go say good day again. Like, and when I said hello, he's like, oh man, I've seen your stuff online. I'm like, what do you mean you've seen my stuff online?
That's cool,
bro?
man.
That was cool. And he was like, oh, like, if you want to get a workout in, let me know. I'm like, I would love to get a workout in. He's like, all right, cool. Kind of took down my Instagram, messaged me as well. And it was kind of like, oh, is that going to be it? Or like, what's going to happen? And then I'd had a contact with BPN, and they kind of said, hey, we've spoken to like Lucy and Fons. They said they've run into you, like, and I was like talking to them a little bit at the time, and they were like, do you want to just come and have a look at the HQ? And we were like, yes.
That's so cool.
And we were like, oh, like, are we allowed to bring our cameras or like just like a little tour? I'm like, no, bring your cameras. Like, oh my goodness. So we've got a full like behind the scenes tour of like the whole warehouse, the gym, the everything. And that was just like the coolest thing ever. They took us out for lunch. Fons ended up meeting us there, and we hit a session in the gym. And I was just like, this is from another world, crazy. Couldn't believe we were there. And me and Maddie just finished that day just being like, how did we get here? You know, like, again, just couldn't believe that kind of happened. Went away did Hyrox Worlds, wore my BPN hat, still repping, just like love the brand. And then, yeah, after that, I feel like we built a really good connection, that experience. They started following a bit more closely online. And then for whatever reason, I was definitely the smallest athlete on the roster, but they saw enough kind of potential in me and direction and aligned values and morals that they wanted to bring me on board. So that was a dream come true.
What was the phone call like?
Phone call was crazy. We were still,
yeah,
it was because we were still in Chicago. Like, I'd only started my YouTube in like May. That was in June. Like, it was so early that I was growing, and then they messaged me the day we were flying home before a 20-hour flight saying, hey, can we give you a quick FaceTime? I'm I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really good or really bad, you know, like, did I do something wrong? Is my YouTube no good? And they're like, hey, we want to bring you on as an athlete. And like, Maddie's got a video on Instagram. I've just got my head in my hands, just like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? And like, yeah, and then I couldn't tell anyone really, because like, they flew me out to Austin a month later to do a full day in the life YouTube, which was kind of like the announcement.
Yeah, fuck.
So
how was keeping that
just
under wraps?
I'm sitting on that. I didn't tell anyone we're going to Austin either.
Whoa.
And then I just like, me and Maddie just posted like a real little transition reel, kicked the foot over the camera, and then opened it up and we're in Austin. And people were like, what are you doing? And then the next day is when we kind of like announced that I was signing on. And so that was like ultimate shock effect that A, we were overseas on the other side of the world, and B, I just signed with like the IT brand in the fitness space.
Wow. Do you think if you don't go to Austin and link up with Lucy and Fonz, do you think it still comes off?
I'd like to think I'd find a way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like not find a way, but like if I just felt like I needed to have the interaction, because I feel like the same reason I was drawn to Nick and the brand and their values, like because I had the same values, I just needed them to kind of see that so I could cut through the noise, you know? And yeah, without doing that, maybe one day, but it is crazy how like those coincidences just seem like there was a higher power at stake that just kind of meant to be. And yeah, that was crazy. If we don't go to Austin, like Maddie's like, why are we going to Austin? Let's just go to Chicago. I'm like, can we just please go to Austin? And she's like, okay, it's out of the way, but like, let's go. And yeah, without that, like, yeah, those interactions, which then give me a tour, which then gives me a chance to meet Tony and the team. Like, yeah, it's wild how it works.
There's something special about doing it in person though, because like you said, it does kind of cut through all the noise, because there is so many creators out there, especially in the fitness space. So the fact that you actually go over there, link up with you, and just like happen to run into crew, like I think that's really cool. It's even like with this podcast, like I haven't done an online podcast because I think there is something really beautiful and special about being here with the guests, you know, doing something together at the start, linking up, and I think there's something really beautiful around that. I think you lose that little bit of connection, just whether it was an online conversation, especially like talking about certain themes of like, you know, background and like having tough conversations and like being in relationships and making it work and balance. I think all that stuff comes from like actually being there in person and having that relationship.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think like also, I feel like a lot of people they don't want to do anything unless it's guaranteed. You know, they don't want to hire the videographer unless the sponsorship is guaranteed at the end of it. Why am I going to pay for someone if I can't, like, I don't want to dip into my own pocket. Like, I want a brand to pay for it. Like, you've got to be willing to like put yourself out, make sacrifices financially, time, do those things with no guarantee for the right reasons. And then like just hope that things kind of fall into place. Because if you don't do them, you're definitely not going to get where you want to go. And like, if you do them and it doesn't work out, at least you did the thing and you're like working towards whatever the goal is. And I think I've always like, if you never ask, you never know, and you miss 100% of shots you don't take. So I'm going to keep shooting them, boys.
But it's fucking scary, man. It's scary. It's scary taking that jump. Like, we've been doing the potty for 2 years, and I stepped out of it 2 months ago to go into it full time. Not guaranteed. Like, full-time wage wasn't guaranteed. Definitely like having a videographer, editor, content producer on board definitely wasn't in the cards. But I was like, if you want to take it to the next level, like, what would it look like if you gave it 100% of your time versus the 20% of your time that you had taking the jump? And don't get me wrong, like, I genuinely believe that we were having the right conversations with the right brands at the time that would allow us to do it. So it was a calculated risk. I wouldn't have just jumped into it from the day dot, because that would just be idiotic. But you kind of see the point. You have this gut feel where you're like, no, I could genuinely make this work. Like, I believe in this. I get good like reinforcement from other crew, and then you take the jump, and then it works out way better than what you can imagine, right? It's like you're going to Austin. It's like you're there and you're in it. Yeah,
it is funny. Like, I get a lot of messages like, hey, you've inspired me. I want to go full-time content creation, quit my job. I'm like, no, bro, no, don't do that just yet. Like, and I feel like, again, one of the secrets to the success is like, there wasn't the pressure on this needs to be my job, because like we have the job, we have our foundation, which means that like I was happy to grow at whatever rate, as slow as possible. And because there was less, I was still giving 100%, but there was less urgency. There was less like, I'm just going to take this quick deal for a bit of money. Like I like turned down more supplement offers than I can tell you, because no, I know what I want, and I don't need like the short-term payout, because like I want the status of like working with the brand that I'm most drawn to, and I want to be there. So like, yeah, saying no, saying yes, the right decisions definitely help, or like pay big dividends in the long run.
What advice would you give to up and coming like fitness content creators who want to be in a similar position, like they want to have these big brand deals but they're kind of just starting? What advice would you give them for longevity and staying in the game for a long period of time?
First bit of advice is like, if you're not posting now, start posting right now. The best time was 5 years ago, but the next best time is right now. And tell it when you're shit. Tell it from the start, because people do not care about the result if they don't know the story to get there, you know? So document it all, and let people come along for the journey. That's when they buy in, that's when they build connection and become a fan and want to see you do well. And you don't have to be the best. It's funny, like even speaking to BPN, I'm like, why are they going to hire someone like me, or like sign someone like me? Like, I'm not the best at anything anymore. Like I like to do different things, and I've got my own kind of, not niche, but I'm very much myself. I'm not trying to be anyone else, but I'm not the best at anything. And they like, we don't want you to be the best at anything. We just want you to be a storyteller and be true to who you are, and have the right values. And like, and that for us was like, wow, like my whole life I thought I had to be a professional athlete to be successful. And it's funny, like I got emotional in Austin, and I don't cry usually, but like I thought that almost after not going to college and playing professionally for basketball, I almost felt like in the back of my mind a bit of a failure, just a little bit, because that was always the goal. And it was funny that I thought, wow, like if I went to college and did what I thought I was going to do, I definitely wouldn't be here. But like when I was in Austin and like signing that contract, I'm like, this is exactly where I feel like I should be and like I'm meant to be. And that kind of gave me this sense of like, oh wow, everything really does happen for a reason. And I'm so glad it kind of played out the way it did. And I stayed like relentless and consistent in times where like, yeah, I wasn't sure is it all going to be worth it. So yeah, there's a few little nuggets in there, but the thing is like, there's only one Bailey O'Brien in the world, and I'm going to be the best at being him, you know. And like I would encourage other creators, like just be yourself, have your own spin on things, and don't try and be anyone else, because if you want to separate yourself from the crowd, don't have to do the most outrageous things. You just have to like do you, and then document your story, and then marry Maddie. Yeah,
be uniquely yourself and get a really good partner.
Yeah, that's basically the secret.
I listened to Stephen Bartlett talk live, I think it was last year or the year before, and he said the exact same thing. He's like, I'm not the best in any one thing. He obviously is in podcasting now. Because at the time, he's like, I'm not the best at all one things, but I am really good at a few things which make me really uniquely me. So he had a really... he was really great in the social media marketing space. He was curious around like conversations. He actually did a lot in like the psychedelic space before starting Diary of a CEO. And there was a few little things that just made him the best collectively at those things. And so when you talk about like being uniquely yourself, find the things that you like. And if you don't know those things, then I imagine just trial things and do what you're kind of curious about, like scope a few things out. Like bro, when I was playing footy, I tried so many different things because I was like, when I finish, like there'll be a day when I stop playing footy and I want to be able to figure it out now. So I was like curious around food. So I went and worked in like a fine dining restaurant, or like I liked property and I wanted to have property. So I worked for a mortgage broker, like on my days off. And so I tried all these things. And then at the end I got like medically retired. So I finished up a bit earlier. And to be honest, I still didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew all the things that I didn't want to do. And that actually put me in such a beautiful space because over that next year or two, I knew that I was curious around the mental health space and psychology. So started studying psychology and started dipping in that. And it's just time. I think that time just comes.
I think, I could not resonate more with Stephen Bartlett and that kind of concept. And this concept of being hybrid, I feel like it's a bit of buzzword. Yeah, you know. And it kind of like, it's almost like, oh, I don't even want to use it, but I also like, in the sense of the word, it like I want to do a combination of a lot of different things. You know, I don't just want to run and lift, which is like outlift the runners and outrun the lifters. Like, it's so much deeper than that. But like, I feel like that's why I love CrossFit, because it wasn't about who's going to be the best at any one thing, who can be the most consistent across everything. And I was never the best, but I can use my work ethic to be pretty good at a lot of different things. And so that's why I was drawn to that space. And now this kind of phase I'm in now, it's the same. Like, I don't have a sport. I want to run marathons. I want to do triathlons. I want to do Hyrox. I want to stay jacked at the same time. Like, I want to do, if I want to play basketball, I want to like socially play some basketball. I want to do a bit of everything. I want to own a gym. I want to have a media agency. I want to have a YouTube pod. Like, I want to do it all, you know? And like, I want to, not just to do it all to say I can do it all, but like, I want to have the ability to do it all, because that's what makes me me. And yeah, I feel like this year at 27, after like, a long time kind of grinding, is the first time I've felt I've actually been rewarded with some of the benefits of that. But if I stop after 2 years, which most people, like personal trainers, stop in those first 2 years, like I definitely don't get to this point. If I, like, my mum told me, don't open a gym, there's too much risk associated with it. Like, why just stay in the garage? Like, you're not paying much rent. Like, you can make way more money. Like, if I don't take any of these risks, we don't go to Austin, like, then there's no reward.
But also, why not you?
Yeah.
And like, anyone who's listening is like, why not you? There's no reason it can't be you. You just got to put in the work.
And I feel like, for me, like, the BPN thing was the biggest thing that's like shattered that glass ceiling, because that was the top. I didn't think like that was end game. That's like, all right, in 10 years time, I want to be there. And like, in a couple of months, not a couple of months, but like, I've been posting for years, but like, with the intention of that happening, for that to happen. And yes, they've kind of like taken, not a gamble on me, but like, they were very open. Hey, we want to help you grow. We like you and you align with us, and we want to help you grow instead of wait for you to grow and then get you, which is so awesome of them. But like, hold up, I kind of forget where I was going with that.
I was just thinking, it's a fucking cool way for BPN to operate. It's like growing. We want to help you grow. Like, we want to do it together, versus just like, oh no, we'll wait till you get like a certain amount of subscribers or a certain amount of followers. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I was gonna like, once that glass ceiling was shattered in, now I'm like, what? Like, why not me? What can't I do? Like, let's push the limits, you know, and not to be silly with it, but just like, it's kind of, open my eyes to being like, there's truly, if I didn't fully believe it before, now I fully believe it. Like, there really is no limits.
What are those things?
Man, we'll see. Because it's, at the same time, big is not always better. Yeah. So it's like this fine line, like, you ask, do you going to open some more gyms this morning? And like, I'm not closed off the idea, but I don't want to spread myself too thin. I want to do a couple of things really well and be very present and passionate and like in those things. But I feel like we're just going to keep going the way we're going, because it's crazy what can happen in 12 months. So who knows where we'll be in another 12 months. But as long as we keep like staying true to our morals and letting those guide every decision we make, I feel like we'll end up in the right spot.
Bro, so exciting. You're obviously dabbling in like Hyrox, marathons. What are a couple of next events you got coming up?
I'll be in Singapore in 2 weeks for Hyrox with my mate Benny Seymour, who's also been on the pod. Shout out Benny, content's been fire, bro.
One of the great men. His content game, he must have some good consults happening in the background. His content game's gone up.
Shout out Benny Seymour. So that'll be in 2 weeks in Singapore, and then 2 weeks later we're in Melbourne for Melbourne Hyrox. I'm sure there's a big contingent listening who will be down there. So if you're there, come say g'day. And the start of next year, we've got a few things on the horizon. I'll be doing, I haven't officially announced this, but I guess there's no better place, but the BPN Last Man Standing Ultra on April 7th.
Yeah, dog, how exciting.
Yeah, so that'll be again, a brand new challenge. I'm not an ultra runner, I'm barely even a runner, but that'll be something fun, something new, a cool experience. More of a test of the mind than it is the body. I'd love to have one more crack at the sub 3 hour marathon. I ran a 3:02 in Melbourne. I'm close, but I just need to tick that bitch off. So I'd love to try and go to Tokyo, but it's very hard to get a ticket to that marathon because it's a major. So ideal scenario, Tokyo, BPN last man standing, and hopefully if in one of the 2 next Hyrox races we can qualify for Worlds, we'll be in Sweden in June, hopefully for Hyrox Worlds. So busy start to the year, and then towards the back end of the year, might have to dabble in the triathlon space again.
Yeah, dog. Any idea
further.
of which one you'd want to do?
I would love to do a half Ironman, potentially Sydney. We'll see what the calendar looks like. It's ever evolving. But yeah, potentially a full Ironman towards the back half of the year, depending how the body's going, how the calendar's shaping up. But yeah, could be a busy year.
Man, even like just on that Go One More, the ultra back up, mate. How good was that doco that they put out? That got me pumped. If there's like any documentary that like gets you jacked, like ready to go for something, man, that was it. Hey?
Yeah, their media team is the best. And it's been so cool to be around them, learn from them, ask them questions. That's been a key linchpin to our growth, is like having literally like pioneers of the fitness kind of space who we can bounce ideas off and get guidance off and have them help with us, and hopefully us help with them as well. So I feel like 2026 is going to be a big year for kind of like the hybrid athlete. I feel like this year's been potentially, especially for the brand, it's been like niching into like very endurance. The ultra is like people like, I'm an ultra runner now. Well, yes, I am an Ironman now, but like I very much want to do all of these things, but I want to do them at the same time. We'll have different seasons for them, not just become one type of athlete. So I'm gonna keep doing that thing whilst trying to hold a bit of muscle and not get too skinny. But yeah, 2026 is going to be a big one.
Before we wrap up, you did mention our mate Benny Seymour. I got a little question from the bro.
Benny!
Yeah, dog.
Hey, big dog, little dog here. Mate, huge year for you. Proud to call you a mate. A couple of questions. One of them, obviously, it's you've had a massive year, plenty of highs. Maybe a couple of lows that you had to bounce back from with your injury and things like that. But just wanted to know how you deal with those situations to continue, getting up each day and getting after it. And then my second question is, are you going to do the 100 wall balls unbroken in Singapore and Sydney? Love you.
Dog.
I'll answer the second one first. Absolutely not, bro. You got to do a couple of wall balls in there. That is funny. Great question though. Because there definitely is, and like Instagram especially is a highlight reel, and you do be real and raw on it, but it does, it very much, for me anyway, it's just like a snapshot, a very short snapshot that's going to keep some people's attention. Then hopefully if they want to learn more, they'll go to the YouTube or the podcast. But yeah, there definitely are equally as many lows as there are highs, and I feel like, for me, I often tell myself you can't kind of have it both ways. Like it's just a part of the game, and how well you can navigate those lows and get back to baseline is, I guess, a measurement of success for me. I feel like I'm pretty good at controlling the controllables. I definitely, the biggest thing for me when I'm at my lowest is when I'm injured, and how I usually get myself out of a slump is by working out, like, I'm just going to go for a run or a ride or whatever it is, go to the gym, feel better about myself, release some endorphins. But when then you can't do that thing that's your escape, what do you do then? And those are definitely like the lowest points. And I've had, like, just like anyone, a lot of injuries throughout my career. But even on that, like going into tournaments or whatever, telling myself like everyone is going through something, like whether they're open and honest about it, like we're all going through the same issues. The people I look up to have their own issues as well. Like, you're not the victim. You just got to find a way to like navigate through this period. And for me, like having a good support network around me is good, and also being okay with there being different seasons. And if it means, all right, you know what, I really can't do what I want to do right now athletically, all right, how can I be the best business entrepreneur I can be, or how can I be the best creator I can be for this season? So yeah, I feel like you can even list them out. What are the things I can control? What are the things that are out of my control? And I feel like I'm pretty good at just maximizing those things I can control. I've said it a couple of times, but yeah, I just want to maximize my own potential. So I'm not leaving any of it on the table. I don't want to waste any of it. And yeah, I feel like that's kind of how I keep myself moving forward.
Bro, I love that, man. I think that's a beautiful way to finish it up, man. Thank you. Thanks so much for this morning. Nice little swim, brekkie, and just coming on. I feel like there was so many just beautiful little nuggets in there that I think we can all take away. So, man, pumped to link and keen to see what the next 12 months looks like, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me on. It is really fun. It's my first I've done a lot of podcasts with Maddie, but it's my first proper one as a guest to reflect on my own story a little bit more, and it's been really fun.
Yeah, because in the research I was going in there, I couldn't find any like real potties that you featured. I was like, this guy's going undercover here.
Yeah. It's hey, I'm an open book, man. Just gotta ask the question. You know?
Well, grateful, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Keegan & Company, where it was all around the company we keep. This episode was powered by Famous Nutrition. Head to famousnutrition.com and use TRI30 for 30% off to feel famously good today. See you next time.